So Ultra Street Fighter 5, right? A lot of people are saying like they want or they expect Ultra Street Fighter 5 to come out at the end of the year. All right, that's going to be the big announcement at the end of CP2 Tour. Is that like that it's going to be Season 5, and it's going to be Ultra Street Fighter 5, and you know it'll be like the whole new era for the game or whatever. Because like they're supposed to support Street Fighter up till 2020, and so like they're going to basically do what they did with Street Fighter 4. And so there's a few things that come with that. First of all, will it happen? Right? Street Fighter 5 might be coming to Xbox because of an Ono tweet? Yes, he did tweet about that. So that would lend itself to Ultra Street Fighter 5 as well. The problem with that is that Sony paid for Street Fighter 4. Basically what happened is that when Street Fighter 5 they paid for. So when Street Fighter 5 was being shopped around by Capcom, the offer for exclusivity was given to Microsoft, and the story goes that Microsoft turned it down because they were willing to bet on Killer Instinct instead, which was just one of the really terrible decisions they made during this generation. So Microsoft passed on it, and Sony bought the exclusivity for it. So I don't know how long that exclusivity goes for. It may have run out, I don't know. If it does come out on Xbox, fucking great, I'd love that. I'd love it if that was the case. More people get to play it, great. Nothing wrong with that. What's that? Ultra Street Fighter 5 with MVCI netcode would also be fantastic. But I mean that's one of the things. Like if they're going to do Ultra Street Fighter 5, they would have to fix the fucking netcode. Because as we all know, netcode of this game is absolutely awful. It's been awful for all Season 4. It was terrible in Season 1. It got better in Season 2. It got a little bit better again in Season 3. And then Season 4 went to shit again. So they would absolutely have to, like, I would love it if they could fix it for Ultra Street Fighter 4, or 5 rather. The question is whether it's worth the time and the money to do that, because you can't just drop netcode into a game and, you know, swap out one piece of code for another. There's obviously a very big process behind that, because netcode, especially rollback netcode, is, from what I understand, is very CPU intensive. So it's not a simple process. But that said, MVCI netcode is 1,000 times better than Street Fighter 5 netcode. NRS did that with MKX as well. Well, oh yeah, they changed the netcode. That's true. Yes, they did. When they did Ultimate Mortal Kombat 10, they completely swapped out the netcode, and it was much better too, because that game had delay-based netcode. Then they changed it to rollback netcode. So I'm not saying it's impossible. It just really comes down to whether Capcom think that it is worthwhile. It's because at the end of the day, it's going to be a business decision. It's not going to be about the community. It's not going to be about what we want. It's going to be about whether they can see that they're going to sell enough units of Ultra Street Fighter 5 to justify the cost in rebuilding that code. I mean, I can guarantee that's going to basically be what it comes down to. It's not going to be like, let's throw away a whole shit ton of money and then have a massive loss on this game just to make the whiny community feel better. Because they're going to complain about it either way. They complain about everything. They're not going to stop now. Yeah, so that's just one thing about Ultra Street Fighter 5. They would absolutely, like, they don't need to do that for Ultra Street Fighter 5. They could continue just with this Horseballs netcode they have now, but obviously they did overhaul it for Arcade Edition, which is why it's trash now. They took what was okay netcode, they took the netcode that was about a 7 out of 10 and made it about a 5 out of 10. And that's being generous. It's still not as good as something like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite had great fucking netcode. It was really good. So it's not an MVCI, it's not a Killer Instinct, for sure. Ultra Street Fighter 5 would be worth it in my eyes only if it's multi-platform. Well, I mean, it's already multi-platform now. You can get it on PC and PS4. But, I don't know, you think this game would run on Switch? It probably could, you know. It probably could. Like, if they could turn the graphics down a little bit, you know, it could probably run on the Switch. Ono will want to make the game better, but he will only be given a certain amount of money. Well, the thing is that Ono is not producer on Street Fighter 5 anymore. He stopped being producer around when Arcade Edition came out, I think. He got shifted to other projects. He is only the face of Street Fighter V publicly. Behind the scenes, he is not working on it anymore. He's not producer anymore. And I think Capcom did that just because there was, you know, obviously Ono did very well with Street Fighter 4, but, you know, there was a lot of blowback on Street Fighter Cross Tekken. That game failed terribly. Street Fighter V, when it came out, was not a polished or even finished game at all. So I bumped the fucking pop filter and my mic muted. Because my pop filter is lined up to perfectly hit the microphone mute button. It's all good, it's all good. Yeah, it's all good. We're back. Yeah, so it's so annoying, like it's the where it sits. Anyway, that's not even on that. So what I was saying is that not only would it be Switch Wi-Fi, but it'd be Switch players on McDonald's Wi-Fi, so don't forget about that. You have skills to hit that. It's one of those things, it's like, you could not do it on purpose, but you do it by accident all the time. So that would, like, you know, like in terms of a wish list, that would be like a #1 thing for Ultra Street Fighter V. Would be absolutely that. In terms of other things for Ultra Street Fighter V, people are saying like second supers, and I don't really know about that. Like, how big a difference would second supers really make to this game? Because all supers have a base amount of damage that goes from, I think it's from like 320 to 340. I don't think it's like, that's kind of like the ballpark for most supers in this game. So, unless the supers actually perform different functions, like Cammy's CQC in Street Fighter 4, where it was actually a counter ultra. I can't see why you'd really need that, really. Because I mean, okay, another animation, great. But in terms of utility, I mean, they would have to be functionally different supers for every character. Because otherwise it's just, you know, different animations and that's basically it. I'd like to see the option for a second super. Well, like I said, I mean, I'm not against the idea of second supers, but they would have to be actually ones that actually had a different use. Like, you know, so, you know, a character would have to have like a strike super and a command grab super, or a, you know, command grab super and a counter super. Something like that. Just not just like you get two different kinds, or, you know, one super is a projectile and one is a strike. So at least give people different options depending on the supers that they want to do. Second V-triggers didn't work for Capcom. The problem with second V-triggers is that some of the second V-triggers are really well thought out, right? Some of them are really good. Like, for example, like, I don't know, who's a character? Like Cullen, for example. Cullen's a character who has two perfectly good V-triggers. Both of them are completely viable. Nothing wrong with either of them. Rashid's another one. Yeah, Rashid has two V-triggers, both of them really well thought out, both of them really good in different matchups, and that's how it should be. That's how second V-triggers should work. The problem is that half the cast just have worthless V-trigger 2s. Like, they did some of them really well, and they just phoned in the rest of them so bad. And Juri is obviously one of those characters, but there is plenty of characters in this game. Like Ken is another example. Why the fuck, as a Ken player, would you ever use V-trigger 2? It's horrible. The only time you ever use V-trigger 2 as a Ken player, to my understanding, is if someone throws a projectile at close range. And it has to be a very close range projectile. And that's the only time you'll ever use it. Every other time, you'll always go for V-trigger 1. So it's a question of whether Capcom can really actually think of like proper ways to implement a second super, essentially. That's what it really comes down to, in my opinion. Give Juri a sexy command grab super? No, they should do with Juri, if they want to give Juri a second super, they should do what they fucking should have done. They should have watched my video on what V-trigger 2 they should give him to Juri, and do it for a super as well instead. So they should do because my suggestion for Juri's V-trigger 2 is that it should give her back her moveset from Street Fighter 4. And like maybe like do something like that, I don't know, like you just pay an entire super bar to switch your moveset back to Juri from Street Fighter 4. Like if Zeku can change stances back and forth all fucking day, why can't Juri do that? Wouldn't that be god tier if Juri could switch back and forth between Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5 Juri? That'd be amazing. That would just make this game 1,000 times more fun for me. Because Because you'd have one character that was really good at zoning and one character that was good at neutral, I guess. Some are worthless, then you have G's and Akumas. Well, G only has one fucking V-trigger. He never uses... does G have a second V-trigger? I've never seen it. Jury switch back and forth with Super, that would be absolutely fucking amazing. They'll never do it. They will never do that. Like I said, there is a producer, Capcom, or a director who just hates the shit out of Jury and only ever changes it when he absolutely has to, and then does it to make it worse. That's my theory, and I'm sticking with it. G V-Trigger 2 is not bad, but V-Trigger 1 does way more. Exactly. You have no reason to pick V-Trigger 2 when V-Trigger 1 is better, is just categorically better. And that's the problem, is that they never really... It really feels like with V-Triggers in this game that they just didn't really think that hard about it. They just threw them in there and went, fuck it, people will pick one, and that's that. Doesn't matter if they're balanced, doesn't matter if they're functional, doesn't matter if they're useful, they'll just have an option. And that's all they need. You know, it's like when they said that in Marvel vs. Capcom, that we didn't need mutants, we didn't need the X-Men, we just needed options. I bumped the microphone again, but did not mute it this time. Hell, give her Black Orchid's... What is Black Orchid's boob super? I'm intrigued by this. Tell me more. So that's V-Triggers, that's supers. What else would make the game really good? I don't know. So we talked about V-Triggers, we talked about supers, we talked about netcode. Like, we don't really need that many more characters to the roster at this point. Like, the roster in this game is already fucking huge. I mean, obviously there's characters that people still want to see. People still want to see Makoto. They still want to see, you know, see Viper. I want to see Yin and Yang. Yin and Yang would be fucking amazing in this game. I want the twins back. Stuff like that. I don't know. I'd probably like some more stages. I feel like this game still doesn't have enough stages in it. Or at least really good stages. Do something to try and make crush counters less random. I agree with you. But that's a whole different discussion, because that's like a core mechanical feature of Street Fighter V. Is crush counters. Like, if you want my opinion on crush counters, I have absolutely no problem with crush counters, but I like them in their most basic form. I like crush counters as a tool for punishing blocked moves. So someone does a DP on wake up, you block it, you crush counter, you get your free combo. Right, you get your free big damage combo. And I'm just gonna say no to this. And that's how crush counters should be in this game, in my opinion. There should be no reason why characters can just throw a button out in neutral at very little risk and just randomly get a free combo off of it. There's just no good reason for it. It just makes neutral a fucking nightmare in this game. And then on top of that, like, again, we go back to my pet bugbear, right? Why does Akuma have a crush counter that's +3 on block? Why? Who thought that was a good idea? Who thought that made sense? You know, why does, like, Juri have this, which is -4, but Akuma has one which is +3? Now, obviously, Akuma's is shorter range than Juri's. It doesn't go as far, but who gives a shit when it's +3? You just get a little bit closer into it. Or you don't even need to, because it also causes crumple state, so you can throw it out from back here. Like, the Akuma player can just throw out, like, Crouching Fierce from back here, right? If it misses, so what? It missed. If it catches something, he's got all the time in the world to just walk up and do whatever the fuck he wants, because it does crumple state as well. So why are crush counters so unbalanced in this game? Yeah, so that's my opinion on, don't take crush counters out, just make them a universal thing, like overheads. Yeah. That said, why does Akuma have an overhead that's only -2 instead of -4? Or -6, sorry. The problem with crush counters is how abusable some crush counters are. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like, Akuma's Crouching Fierce is a fucking amazing button. The only downside to Crouching Fierce is that it is a little bit slow to come out. I think it's like 8 or 9 frames to come out. And it doesn't have the best range in the world. It's not terrible, it just doesn't have the best range in the world. But like I said, it doesn't matter. The fact that it has a shallow hitbox doesn't actually matter if you're throwing it out from back here and just waiting for them to press a button that collides with it. That removes it. That removes a lot of the shortcomings it has in terms of range. Rashid crouching heavy punch, yeah. Colin standing fierce punch. Karin standing fierce kick. Yeah, there's just... Crush counters, a tool that powerful needs to be universal. I mean, people bitched and moaned all fucking day about focus attacks in Street Fighter 4. But at least focus attacks were relatively universal. Obviously, you know, there was differences in terms of range of some characters versus other characters. But still, in terms of how they functioned, for the most part, they were pretty consistent. Whereas crush counters in this game are all over the fucking place. So, yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree that you know, do I think they would do it? Absolutely not. I think that is a huge change to how you would balance the game. In terms of like nerfing or buffing individual characters' crush counters. Or alternatively doing what I said and just making it, you know, not working against random moves, only works as like a punish against like blocked super specials and whatnot. Yeah, it would just be too much of a huge change for Capcom to really risk this late in the game's lifespan. Because if they make a big change and everyone hates it, then they either have to leave it as a game that everyone hated, or spend even more money in terms of fixing it again. Super Nokonami, thank you for the follow there. Oh, it absolutely needs fixing, for sure. No question. CC fuck neutral, exactly. Yeah, crush counter is your fuck neutral button. That is absolutely true. I use stand fierce kick all the time because it's like it is a fuck neutral button. That said, Jury can't get shit off of it, but it is fuck neutral. So yeah, that'd be another thing. Anything else? What is there? Anything else? So we've talked about netcode. We've talked about supers. We've talked about V-triggers. We've talked about crush counters. Like I said, I mean the game doesn't need many more characters. You know, a couple more characters should be fine. I think. A couple more stages would be nice. And I think that's kind of it. Like the only other thing really is what I was talking about before, where it's like they need to fix the main menu screen. The main menu screen should be preserved by historians in this game as a treasure of just fucking awful design because you can't find shit on that screen. It's terrible. Like there is a general rule in web design. In web design, you should never have to go more than 3 clicks to find what you're looking for. Right? 3 clicks should be the absolute maximum to find anything that you're looking for on a web page. And this game, you have to go like fucking 5 layers deep to find the Kage challenge right now. You have to go to challenges, then you have to go to the battle challenges, then you have to cycle through the battle challenges until you find Kage, and then finally you have to select Kage to actually get there. And then that doesn't even count like fucking selecting a character and shit after that. It's awful. It's so bad. Capcom are just shooting themselves in the foot with that. Omega mode? Mysterious mod. Just make that standard. I'd like an Omega mode again. That was fun. I honestly played Omega mode for literally 5 minutes in Street Fighter 4 and just never touched it again. I just looked at it and went, well, jury stuff isn't fun, don't care, and just literally never went back to it. So, Capcom need to improve the V-skills. As much as people complained about Bison getting buffed this season, the V-skill change that they got was cool, and Capcom need to do more of that. Yeah, well, I agree. That kind of ties into what we're talking about with V-triggers. That like some V-triggers are really well thought out and really good, and some V-triggers are just absolute horseballs, and that's the same with V-skills. V-skills absolutely need to be tweaked to be just, you know, universally fair, I guess. But again, probably not going to happen. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's pretty much all I want to talk about there in terms of Street Fighter V. In terms of Ultra Street Fighter V, rather. I found it was a fun mode, but I could not play my normal character in it. Then you have Cammy's. Oh, Cammy's V-skill, yeah. Like, Cammy and Juri have the same V-skill, but Juri is minus 17 on block and Cammy is plus 2. Add in old music, yeah. Fix Juri's music. Give Juri back her old theme from Street Fighter 4. That'd be one. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, Juri's theme. Juri's the worst fucking theme in this game. Yeah, that's kind of. I think those key things. So to wrap it up, they need to fix the netcode. If they're going to do second supers, do second supers that are meaningful and not just a different animation. Number 3 was fix the V triggers to make them basically, good for characters who don't have a good second V trigger, not just Juri. 4 was fix crush counters to just not be the fuck neutral button that they are. And 5 is potentially fix V skills while you're fixing V triggers. And those are probably like the 5 things I would really like to see in Ultra Street Fighter 5.